Welcome to Mana's Seal YouTube channel. The previous video link is on the description box or on the top right card. Volume 16, The Half-Elf Godkin. Huff, huff, huff. Considering Destin's physical capabilities, sprinting such a short distance at his full speed shouldn't have him wheezing. Yet, he was completely out of breath. It must be the fear. The fear that was welling up from inside him was so strong it was physically affecting his body. He tried to listen to his rear to see if anyone was chasing him. Nothing. No one was coming after him. Did he manage to escape? No, Destin shook his head silently. He couldn't be careless. He should not cling to his pride as the strongest elf anymore. He should run away. Defeat isn't the end of everything. It's not like there were no elves left outside this forest. He could just travel to a place far away and rebuild his kingdom. He was confident enough in his own strength that he would be able to do that probably. I wouldn't make the same mistake next time. Be it grandchildren or great-grandchildren, he now had the proof that later generations could awaken their blood. He would just have to proceed wisely from now. Yeah, that's right. This is neither a mistake nor a defeat. Just something that can be a good experience for me. I wouldn't waste the experience that I have gained. I am not such an idiot. Only idiots repeat their mistakes. That's right. First, he would make his children have progeny with the Dark Elves, or should he do it with the Dark Elves himself? Anyhow, there's no time. Should I just escape as quickly as possible? Or, maybe I should carry some food with me. Destin continued to think while running. His teleportation was limited to teleporting to the elemental he was linked with. As he couldn't use it anymore with Behemoth dead, he could only rely on his own legs to run away from this place. Still, he could fly, so maybe he didn't need to rely solely on his legs. That's right, Destin had the power of magic. Frankly speaking, even if he didn't take anything along, he should be able to manage somehow with just the gear he had on him. Plus, if he passed by a civilized area, he could just pillage what he wanted from them. These things were possible for someone as strong as Destin. Certainly, he had just been defeated, it was vexing, but he had acknowledged it. But those grandchildren's strength was an exception. They were only that strong because they had Destin's blood flowing through them, so it's unlikely there were people of similar strength at the place he would be escaping to. Still, a display of his strength could draw too much attention. That undead, commanded by the grandchildren, might come chasing after him if news of his whereabouts were spread. That aside, what were those two aiming for in the first place? Were they on that floor because the treasury was there? In that case, maybe they are no longer interested in taking my life. Perhaps he was being too optimistic. It was hard for him to believe the grandchildren's words, or to be more accurate, what they made the undead say. Maybe, they really are after me. He should expect the worst-case scenario. His life depended on it after all. In that case, I should try my best to lie low until I am as far away as possible from this area. I should also avoid using magic. I will have to carry some food with me then. There was a druid spell that could make fruits. There was also a staff inside his treasury that could do it 6 times every 4 hours, but Destin himself didn't learn that spell. He wasn't used to living in the forest either. Destin was confident in his ability to deal with any beasts that could attack him, but he was not at all confident in his ability to collect food from the forest, including properly field dressing the slain beasts. There is some fruit and wine inside my room. I should leave this forest with them as fast as possible, without using magic. After that, I will kill everyone I meet to stop information about me from reaching those children's ears. I can also snatch their goods at the same time. While doing that, I will run to a place as far away as possible. Oh. Right. Maybe I should also carry some valuables. I remember hearing that jewels and gold coins are useful. Destin finally reached his room, wheezing his lungs out. There should be some women inside, but it would draw attention if he took any with him. They would also be a burden, so they should probably be left behind here. Or maybe he should take 1 or 2 along. It was an unpleasant thing for a king like him to carry them, but they shouldn't be a burden if he did that. I don't mind taking along a woman who can cook. And it's unknown when I can meet an elf again after leaving this forest. In that case, I should really take some along to make children. Destin adjusted his breathing and wiped off the sweat induced by pain. He wanted to avoid looking unkingly before the women. While splitting some of his attention towards the way he came from, scared that the undead would suddenly appear, Destin opened the door to his room. Welcome back. A female's nonchalant voice called out to him. Destin immediately felt angry. To think a woman who probably scraped their heads along the ground for him, until now dared to be so nonchalant. He felt like he was being mocked for suffering defeat at the hands of his grandchildren. However, that anger soon subsided the instant he saw the room's situation. It was red. His room was painted completely red. It's blood. The scent of blood was so thick that he couldn't even begin to describe it. He probably failed to notice it outside the room because his nose had been distracted by the scent of his own blood. The remains of the women who were supposed to be here were scattered around the room, and a single chair was placed in the middle of them, likely intentional, with a woman sitting on it. He didn't know her. She wore a splendid-looking full set of armor, carried a helmet in one hand, and held a mysterious-looking staff with 3 curved blades, drenched in blood at the end of it in the other. He couldn't understand what method of use the creator of this weapon had in mind when they made it. The woman didn't look like an elf to him, but at the same time, her face had hints of elven characteristics. So was she an elf. And most of all, those eyes. "Yo, pleased to meet you, father." The woman grinned with clear scorn. He finally arrived at the only possible conclusion. "I see. So that's how it is, so you are those kids' mother." The woman's expression went stiff for a moment before returning it to a smile, immediately. "Yes, you are right. Those kids' mother. Those wounds, so you were defeated by them, are they so strong? Which ability of theirs made you lose? Tell me, father." He started to open his mouth but stopped it. He didn't have time to play along with her, as she was clearly stalling for time. He immediately turned his heels, trying to get away from the room. "Not going to let you." Gah. Pain ran through his legs, making him tumble on the floor. Looking down, he saw that the blade that extended from the strange weapon caught his legs. It tripped him and he was being dragged back into the room by his legs. New wounds opened on his legs, and he started to bleed again, but those were trivial compared to the chest wound from that undead, or the damage his legs received when he ran from them. But he couldn't understand. There had been some distance between the two of them. Despite that, she immediately caught up with him and attacked his legs. It's like this woman, his own child, was far faster than he could ever be. He felt a strong pressure bearing down on his back. The woman was pressing him down with her feet. Gah. Destin couldn't stand up. Did this mean that she was far stronger than him? Or was it some kind of special skill? Was your chest wound caused by a blade? What about those on your legs? I've heard that you use an earth elemental, so where is that? She fired out questions in rapid succession. He could not feel a hint of tension in her voice. It was true that Destin was deeply wounded. It was also true that he lost Behemoth, but that didn't mean he was weak. He still had his physical strength, which could easily kill any living being around here in a single hit. This Destin, who had lost Behemoth and who only had his physical strength to rely on, tried to run with his full power. Even though he was dulled by the pain, there was no way that woman could catch him. But he had to acknowledge reality. This woman surpassed him in brute strength. But there was still a doubt left. He didn't remember having a child with such high abilities. He moved his head to see the woman who was pushing down on him. Just as he thought, he really did not know her, and her face felt a little bit off for an elf. "Well, what do you want? Why are you doing this to me?" That was a genuine doubt from the bottom of his heart. The woman laughed out loud with scorn. "The strong can do whatever they want to the weak. Am I wrong?" Gah. She was right. That was the principle Destin had lived by till now. That is the morality of wild animals, but it's a suitable ideology for savages who live in the forest without proper civilization. Did the women who had been here say that? Fuck. The woman let out a large sigh, like she was trying to expel the heat that accumulated inside her. And in that instant, the force pressing down on him became stronger. Gah. He couldn't breathe from the pressure. "Why don't you answer my previous question first? Wait, did you forget it? Are you turning senile?" Gaga. The pressure on him gradually increased to the point where Destin could no longer bear it. He could hear the innards of his body creaking around. His mouth, open to taking a breath, could do nothing but expel air. The pressure was slightly lessened after she clicked her tongue, but not enough for him to be able to escape. Destin still had to put in all of his efforts, just to take a fresh breath. "What attack wounded you like that? Why is this happening to me? From the moment I met those kids, it's the worst, but why is this woman interested in the wounds? Doesn't she know what her children did? They are necromancers who command various undead. No, maybe, it's different. To think 3 people, his children and grandchildren, who rivaled him, no, who surpassed him, appeared at the same time. No, maybe there's a different reason behind it. I see. I thought they were my grandchildren descendants, but if they are blood relatives, there's another possibility. Perhaps they are my father's. Impossible. These are my half-siblings. Wasn't that the most logical answer to all of this? His father was an elven hero who was the strongest fencer. They were called 8 great kings, not in praise, but in scorn, because they were stronger than anyone else. The weaklings tried to paint over their great deeds and destroyed their glory through such petty acts. Destin didn't manage to inherit the fencing talent from that great bloodline, but perhaps this woman here did. So, talk sooner I will kill you, okay? Ka. Talk, I will talk, so please ease off the pressure. He wanted to shout, but he couldn't vocalize. He heard something break inside his body as a sharp pain spread through his chest. His body stiffened from the pain that felt like his innards were being gouged out as he unconsciously drew nails on the floor. I never felt a single ounce of pity for my mother since then, but to think she conceived me after being raped by such a mook, yeah, I do pity her a little. When he thought he heard her talking to herself, the pressure on the leg, crushing him, increased further. He could hear things inside him breaking one after another, revitalizing the pain he felt previously with every instance. He could taste the blood welling up from his throat, but even if he wanted to let it out, he could at most make it trickle down his mouth. It was stifling. Stifling and painful. Why did he have to go through this? Even though he did nothing wrong at all. Destin struggled with his full might. Just a single breath would be nice, but he wasn't able to free himself. His struggles were meaningless in the face of an overwhelming gap in the level of their strength. Die. He would die. Not much time had passed since he has had similar thoughts, but it was stronger this time. Scared. He was scared. Stifling. It was stiffly. Why, This is really irritating, because of this smoke, my mother. Dark. Why? Tears welled up. Why was she doing such cruel things to him? Really. He couldn't breathe. He didn't want to die. Someone. Help. Suddenly, his consciousness came back, but that didn't mean the pain disappeared or that he could breathe. What? Something happened. Your body swelled up. Really, how stubborn. The sound of all of his bones breaking at once. Pain. Something happened. The world darkened for Destin once again.